Good morning, everyone. Good morning, story writers. How are we on this fine Friday? I join you live this morning because I have been so inspired by your story ideas that I've decided to join in too. And this morning, I'm going to explore some of my ideas for a story live on camera. I've never done this before, so I'm hoping it's going to work. Now, your first challenge was to come up with some ideas, and I've been so blown away. In fact, over the course of the weekend, I'm going to share some of the ideas that you've all sent me. And when in my video where I talked about coming up with ideas, I gave you some pointers, some places to start. And I said, let's have a think about themes. So any interesting themes that you might like. To start to think about characters and settings, so where your story is going to happen, and plots. So that's exactly what I'm going to start to do today. And if this works, what I'm going to do is try and flip my phone round so I can show you my piece of paper. There we are. Okay, so this is the first sheet in the resource pack, and it's deliberately not got very much on it because we need lots of space for our own ideas. Now, I've decided to start with a theme, and for a long time now I've wanted to write a story about a dinosaur, and so that's where I'm going to start this morning. I'm going to start with, and excuse my terrible handwriting, the most important thing is that I can read it so that when I come back to these ideas later I can remember what I've put. Dinosaur story. Now this is something that I've been thinking about for a while, but never really got much further than that. So I've got my theme. Dinosaur story. Now I'm going to dive straight in by thinking about some plots for a dinosaur story. So, how about a dino race? Or something along those lines, like the Dinosaur Olympics or something like that. That could be quite fun. We could bring in lots of different dinosaur characters into this. And we could link it with a few real life facts about real dinosaurs and the things that we know about them. We could have flying races, running, swimming. Lots of little ideas like that. Yeah, I quite like the idea of a dino race. I don't think I've ever read another book about a dinosaur race, but sometimes it's worth just checking because you can't always remember what you've read before. But that's one idea of mine. Along the race theme as well, we could do something like a bit of a tortoise and the hare type story, where there's a really ambitious dinosaur who thinks he's the fastest dinosaur ever and challenges others to a running race. Quite like that idea as well. And I've brought some colours with me as well because it helps me think a little. I've got a green pen here for my plot ideas. Just helps it stand out then on the page. We know that these things are all linked to some plots. Tortoise and the hare, I like that. Now, as I'm talking and scribbling along, if you've got any ideas, ask your grown-ups or just pop them in the comments. I think I can see them this way around. And you can help me come up with some ideas for a story. So we've got so far Dino Race / Olympics and the Tortoise and the Hare story. The other kind of story I'd really like to explore actually is maybe a bit of a mystery detective, maybe like dino detective story. dino detectives, some kind of mystery to solve. That would need a little bit more thought. Perhaps if you've got any ideas, what kind of mystery could we have some dinosaur detective solving? That's an interesting one. I like that. Dino detectives. Let's have another think. How about a travelling dinosaur? Travelling dino. We could link this with seeing the world. But where would we go? Any ideas? Pop them in the comments if you've got any ideas of where our travelling dinosaurs could go. Oh, I know. How about a dino disco? Has anyone ever heard of a dino disco before? Love that idea. Could bring some music and things into this story. And make it a bit of a 70s disco vibe. So lots of bright colours and lights. That could be quite fun. A dino disco. So I've got a few different ideas there for plots. I've just dived straight in with plots. But now I'm going to start to think about my characters. Now, I don't know why, but I've already got a bit of a character in mind of a kind of friendly T-Rex. Probably one of the most well-recognised dinosaurs. I don't know, what do you think? Probably got some dinosaur fans out there. But I'm thinking of like a bit of a, sort of friendly, cartoony child dinosaur T-Rex. What do you think? I'm going to have a go at sketching now. I warn you in advance, sketching is not my area of expertise, but I'm going to show you because actually sometimes it really helps me to extend my ideas and help my thought process. So I'm going to go with a really simple shape of a little dinosaur, like this. We're going to go with some big spikes. Now, if there's any dinosaur fans out there, you're probably going to be telling me I've got this all wrong. But actually, when you're making a story up, it doesn't have, unless you're choosing to include real life facts, it doesn't have to be that factual. It can be completely made up. And that's what's so fun about it, because let's make him smile. I want him to be friendly, but obviously he's still got to have some sharp teeth. Sorry, illustrators, you're probably like, anybody watching this that's really good at drawing is probably going to be wondering what on earth I'm doing, but it does help me to think about my ideas. Yeah, feet, obviously not my strong point either, right? Some little arms. They had little arms, didn't they? T-Rexes. There we go, something like that. I kind of like the idea of that. And maybe he has some other little dinosaur friends. Who could be his friends? Have you got any ideas? Send me some ideas if you can think of any of his friends. Let's put that down as a question mark, because he needs some friends, doesn't he? Okay, so I'm going to do my characters' ideas in blue. Now, this is just how I work. It just really helps me get my ideas out of my head and down, and I'll just keep going really until I can't think of anything else, and then I'll have a little bit of a rest and come back to it later. But okay, so I'm quite set on this character idea. I just need some friends. Now, the other thing I'd said to think about was a setting. Now, I really like the idea of having this story set in a kind of luscious Jurassic land. What do you think? Luscious, that's a good word. Luscious, so lots of green foliage and maybe a waterfall, a bright, clear waterfall. Yeah, lots of green leaves and trees. Maybe a rainbow. We love rainbows at the moment. It'd be good to get a rainbow in there. Thinking quite visually at the minute. But let's get the words down. A luscious, prehistoric land. Any other ideas? I quite like the idea of it being in a relatively close to reality setting, but of course in a story, I mean, it could be anywhere. We could pretend that dinosaurs live now and we're in the real world and dinosaurs are riding cycles and getting on the bus and all that kind of thing. Maybe we would scribble that down. Real world dinosaurs. Dinosaur land. That could work. Okay, I'm pretty set on my prehistoric dinosaur land, but what else would we want to include in that? If you have any ideas, send them to me. I'd love to hear. Okay, so we've got some... jumping back to our characters quickly. So I've come up with my friendly T-Rex and some friends' ideas. But the other thing as well is sometimes you need a bit of a villain, a bit of a baddie of a story. Not always, but it depends what sort of story you're writing. And I'm just thinking what kind of a baddie we could have in this story. I don't know, actually. I'm drawing a bit of a blank on that one. I'm going to write it down again with a question mark because, again, if you've got any ideas, who could be our baddie in this dinosaur tale? Let's have a think. Is there a particularly naughty dinosaur you think it could be? It's worth having a think about that. Now, what I would do now is start to flesh out some of these ideas a little bit more by asking some questions. First question being why? Why is there a dino disco? How has that come about? Why is there a dinosaur race? How has that come about? Why are there dino detectives? Perhaps there's a history of cases that need solving in our prehistoric, luscious land. So start to question some of your ideas a little bit more and start to dig in a little bit more until your piece of paper is lovely and filled. And if you're going to use colours like I do, a lovely brightly coloured ideas sheet. So I'm going to leave it there. I hope you've got a bit of an understanding of how I come up with ideas. Let me flip me back round. How I come up with ideas. It's not a particularly pretty process, but it is really good fun. And seeing as at the minute we can't really go out anywhere, that's not to say our imaginations can't. So dive in, guys. Have a go at doing this yourself. As I say, this was the first sheet from the resource pack that's available on my website for free, but actually a blank sheet of paper would do equally as well. Now I'm going to leave you the weekend, over Easter weekend, to have a little bit of a think about this and come up with some ideas. Send them to me as they come. So ask your grown-ups to send them to me. They can email me at Kirsty, with an IE, at telltaletots.co.uk, or they can just message me on here. That's fine. And if you could include your age and any notes about your story, and I will read them out over the weekend. And then I'll be back early next week, day to be confirmed, because I'm going to record the video over the weekend, but the next video will be out where I'm going to read The Witch's Cat, and I'm going to set you your second writing challenge. So I'm going to leave you there. Have a wonderful Friday. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you for watching my first ever live ideas video. And I can't wait to see what you come up with. Goodbye, everyone.